All right, guys, let's get into the news right away coming out of Thursday from Europe. Kris, it's not good news. It's a bank yet again having some financial problems.
Yeah, well, we need to keep it in perspective. You know, we're looking at a bank that couldn't meet its obligations. So it's the second largest bank in Portugal, a relatively small economy. But the fear really is about the potential contagion, what other problems might be out there, and then also the counterparty risk, what other banks are dealing with this particular institution and maybe aren't going to get paid.
Is it a fear, Grant, of 2008 all over again?
Oh, I think there's some of that. You know, we immediately turn to the worst case scenario and try and figure out how many other banks are connected to this and what their risks are. Frankly, we went through this once before and we survived that, and that was far more widespread than today. Not to downplay it, but I just think, I don't think it's as big a deal as the news media is making it at this moment anyway.
But the news in North America is pretty good. Quarter 2 earnings coming out, Alcoa beat expectations?
Yeah, actually, so expectations for second quarter earnings are pretty good, up 6 to 10% over the same period last year. And I think that's a relative indicator for what we've talked about the economy and earnings. Is the backdrop for really what markets are going to do. Alcoa, you know, was expected to do 12 cents a share and did 18 cents a share, and the numbers look pretty clean there. So that's encouraging. Pretty early in the game yet, though.
And Kris, the news out of China isn't necessarily good, but the economy there is just so darn big that it's got to be good.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at China in itself and what's transformed there over the last decade, we can go back to the year 2000, and China had 34 cities with 1 million or more people in them. Today, or 2012, there's over 100 cities with more than 1 million people, and I think there's about 8 or 10 cities with more than 10 million people in them. So the growth there has just been huge, and the forecasts are for that to continue.
And that means also, Grant, e-commerce numbers coming out of China and what you call M-commerce numbers.
Yeah, so phenomenal growth there. So e-commerce is transaction, you know, commerce transactions on the internet with computer or tablet or smartphone. And M-commerce is mobile, so that breaks it down even further in what percentage is happening on mobile. And the numbers there are staggering in terms of the growth. You know, in 2000 we saw no M-commerce numbers, and yet
it didn't exist.
No, it didn't exist. And in 2010 it was 3% of the overall numbers, and in 2013 it was 14%. So this growth trajectory is just starting to do that. And there's some very startling numbers in terms of the uptake in China on this.
Yeah, it's all been because of the expansion of smartphones. In 2013, there was more than 1 billion smartphones sold, exceeding both tablets and PCs combined. You couple that with the demographics, younger people using these devices, more confident with the internet and transacting over the internet and mobile platforms, we can only expect these numbers to continue to grow.
And up like that, right?
That's right.
All right, guys, if people want to contact you?
Yeah, it's toinvestmentguys.com.